Hey everyone, welcome to the She's Gone Free podcast. I am here with my good friend and special guest, Stacy Canzonieri. And she is a photographer that I have known in the professional photography industry probably for like a decade, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also a member of the She's Gone Free coaching community with me. And that's a community of creative women. And we're all kind of like stretching and growing into new projects, new ideas, giving birth to new businesses, whatever the case may be. And so we've been working closely, and she's not only an incredible photographer and a mom to three beautiful girls, but she also has been creating since like before the pandemic, really. She's been creating these great printable sheets for kids, and she's begun teaching moms how to be creative with their children through not just the printables for kids, but also through photography and through photo lessons, encouraging moms to get into the photos, teaching them how to take better photos with their cameras and document all those really special moments. So Stacy and I are running a photo challenge together this summer. She's done photo challenges before in the past, and this we're doing the photo challenge in our coaching group, but it's also available for anybody else to join us. It's actually just $17 for the whole summer. So we'll talk more about it as the podcast goes on, but we're teaming up for that. So today, Stacy is here on the show to share with you her journey as a mother, starting in photography, how she decided to start a photography business, and then how she's shifted into everything that she's doing now, all these other creative ideas. So welcome, Stacy. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, I'm Heidi Hope. Welcome to the She's Gone Free podcast, a show where I share my story as a creative entrepreneur and mother, my journey to a full heart, my often messy ADHD brain, and the stories, hearts, and minds of other incredible women who have healed, found joy, and stepped into their greatness to live a life on fire with purpose. You have found this podcast because you are ready to walk this path too, and I'm so glad that you're here. Promise me you'll never again settle for anything less than fire, that which lights you up and burns away everything that is no longer meant for you. Fire transforms, and it sets you free.
Thank you. That was an awesome intro, by the way. Thank you.
I will tell you, when I first decided to start the podcast last year, one of my biggest hangups, and I said this to a good friend of mine, I was just like, I'm just not a good interviewer. This is like one of my fears. I'm like terrible at interviewing people. And then once I started interviewing, I was like, I really love interviewing.
You're really good at it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. And
I'm going to rewatch and listen and write down everything you said about me, and that'll be like my bio.
Yes. And you just like coach yourself with it, right?
Yes.
I should just listen. It's like an affirmation every morning. Yes, I'm great.
Love it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Awesome.
So it's funny that we're doing this today because my daughter's birthday is today, my oldest, who's 19.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. And
Happy
she was
birthday.
the one who inspired me to pick up a camera in the first place. So
yes. Okay. So let's talk about that. So 19 years ago,
yeah.
had you already like ever taken photography classes or anything like that?
No, never. But I will tell you, so when I went down this like road of learning about photography and everything, I had, a film camera back then and had to go and like develop my negatives at CVS. And you remember you'd get like doubles of each thing. I was like thinking about like why, I don't even know why I fell in love with this. I mean, I know why, obviously motherhood and stuff, but I started thinking back to like childhood because people would say like, did you ever take classes? No, but I remember photos that I have as a kid of me. So me like posing dolls that I had. It's so weird. But like I would put like a sheet up on like the back of my bed, and like I would like, pose a doll, and I would like put books next to them and stuff. So I had forgotten all that. And then once I started getting into it, remembered it. And then also like I have a lot of photography books that I collect, and not even just like how-tos or whatever, like celebrity photography,
like fine art type stuff.
Yeah. So, and I just made the connection, not too long ago that I guess it has been a part of my life for a long, long time, but it wasn't until I had kids that I started learning actually like how to do it and do it better and do it well.
Yeah. That's awesome. I do think that with our generation, because it was all before digital photography, like when we were in college, and I mean, maybe it was the dawn of digital photography.
Yeah.
And I myself didn't ever consider photography as a career. I loved photography too. I had the scrapbooks. I loved all that stuff. And I loved memory making. I did not pose dolls and do all that. So that's so funny that you did that. That's like the next level. You even did a backdrop with the sheet and everything. So yeah, and I was always an artist, but I never considered photography to be a career. And I didn't take my first class. I didn't learn black and white photography until I had to teach it. So, so I didn't even take it in college or anything.
I mean, neither did I. I was an English major, and
Yeah.
I was writing for like a teen magazine when I got out of college. So
Yeah.
it really wasn't until I had kids, and like, I'm sure the same thing with you, like these tiny little babies, and you just want to like freeze every single moment and every like smile and, steps and laughter and all that stuff that and now 19 years later, to be able to look back at those photos.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a gift, really. So
it is a gift. And the older our kids get, don't the photos mean more and more?
So much more. Like, because it's her birthday today, I was trying to find and here's the thing though, because everything for her is printed in albums.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to find stuff like that I can post on social media, but through the years I've taken like pictures of pictures. So I was posting stuff today and I came across a photo that I remember, like, this is when it clicked. Is a picture of her, and the back of my husband had a Mustang at the time. I think the top was down, and I had my camera with me because I was just like learning it and stuff. And I took a picture of her, and I remember when I got it back, like the photo back, that it was like, I love this, like the sparkle in her eye and everything. And I don't know if you remember, so Ree Drummond, she's a Pioneer Woman, right? She's on like the Food Network or whatever now. But before she was on the Food Network, she was like sharing all her photography, like tips and tricks and stuff on a blog. And that's basically how I learned photography.
Oh, wow.
I learned it from the Pioneer Woman. Yeah. Honestly.
I didn't even know that about her, actually. That's pretty cool.
I don't even know if she still has it up on her blog or what, but I would like devour everything that she wrote, tips and stuff. Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so cool. You'll have to send me that picture so I can edit it into this video.
Oh, it's on I think I put it on my Instagram today. So
good. Okay. Yeah. I'll check it out. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So you start just kind of taking photos of your own kids, which is also how I started down the road of newborn photography. I had been a photography teacher, and I love taking pictures of like landscapes, and I used to do a lot of macro photography of like food and flowers, whatever.
Right.
And then it was when Juliana was born, she's turning 14 now this summer, that I just had my like Canon Digital Rebel with a macro lens. And I just lost myself in the process of photography. I really had never felt so, now I know what it is. It's like flow state. I had never felt so engrossed in an activity before as when, she was 6 weeks old, because I didn't know anything about newborn photography. So she's 6 weeks old. I put her on a coffee table. I hung a sheet in the background. I used my like Canon, my Digital Rebel with the kit lens with the macro filter. And I just took pictures of like every little detail of her. And we talk about this a lot in, we're going to be talking about it in the photo challenge too. We talk about this a lot in our membership. The coaching membership is like how everything can be an act of meditation, or you can bring mindfulness into every single thing that you do. But photography naturally lends itself to that, right?
Yes.
So I think that's why so many mothers are drawn to it, because it's like, as soon as you have children and things get busy and hectic and crazy, right? And photography is an art that we can practice every single day that brings us into the present moment, right? That makes us really connect with our children.
Yeah.
And that's something that like in the insanity of the lives we live now and the constant distractions of technology and everything, it's like, that's a hard thing for us to consciously practice all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
So your journey has kind of changed too from, all right, so well, you start taking pictures of your own kids. Then when was the point where you were like, I want to make a business out of this?
Okay. So well, it didn't come to me until somebody said it to me, which is probably what happens to a lot of people. But I think I got lucky. Honestly, I really think I got lucky. Like, I don't think I have any like special talent or anything. I really think I got lucky because of social media. So it kind of like when I started getting better at it is when I started posting it online. And this was, so my second daughter was like almost 4 years after my first. And that was like right around when Facebook came onto the scene or yeah, something like that. So, and I was posting stuff and then people just liked it. And then it was like, can you take, you know, my daughter's photo, or can you come and take pictures at a birthday party for us or whatever? So it snowballed from there. And like, I never looked back. It was like so hard in the beginning. I made so many mistakes because I had no idea what I was doing. I was learning as I was going in terms of photography and in terms of running a business, because I have no business background. Like I used to write. I wanted to be a writer. I didn't want to, I don't know how to like deal with QuickBooks and taxes and all that stuff. So so just slowly but surely, I honestly feel like it took me like almost 5 years to really feel confident in what I was doing and like, okay, it's okay that people pay me for this.
Yes. Well, I think everybody feels like that anytime they start a new business, doing anything really is like, oh, I'm not good enough yet. Or
I still feel like that. And it's been like 12 years. I'll still go to a session and be like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? I forget everything. I'm like, can't pose. I can't do all this stuff. So,
well, that's not true because your work is beautiful. So as soon as you're like, I have no special talent, I was like, stop. You know
what I mean? I mean, photographers these days, they're everywhere. Your phones, our phones make it so accessible, and you can, you know, take beautiful photos with your phone or your camera or big camera. So
totally. And that's when you have to decide, do I want this to be a business, or do I want to just do this for the love of it and for the fun of it? And sometimes when you start a business doing something, you lose, because now there's money attached to it. You lose the thing that you fell in love with about it in the first place. So when we were just talking about becoming so present and mindful, it's like that can sometimes be stripped away when you're thrown into the fire of a business that's growing and you're not sure how to grow it. And there's just a lot of other things that it's not just the art of photography at that point. It's like everything else that comes along with running a business.
Well, and I was just going to say, I think what brought me back, because I was starting to feel like that, like it's not fun anymore. And so then having Olivia, and so she's 4 now, but so 4 years ago, having her, I think brought me back to it.
Yes.
And then oddly enough, like during the pandemic, just like not having a lot to do also brought it back, of just like focusing on our life at home and capturing all that. And then when I joined your group too, it was connecting it to mindfulness. And why I loved it so much in the first place is like being able to pay attention, being able to notice, being able to see things that like, I feel like sometimes only a mother can see, you know what I mean? There's certain things that only a mother notices, or even like, just like how the light hit her hair in the morning, or, you know, her muffin was backlit or something, you know what I mean? Like those little moments. So
Oh, I love that. And it's funny because our group isn't all photographers. It's like 50-50 at this point. So there's still, obviously, me coming from the photography industry, there's still a lot of photographers that were in my audience, but it's like half and half. But really, photography had, like you were saying, it has become so accessible that like you can practice this type of stuff with your iPhone. And in our photo challenge, we're going to be giving tons of photo tips, but you do not necessarily need a big camera to complete them. We'll have tips for the big camera and we'll have tips for the iPhone too. But the whole thing is really about, it's a summer photo challenge. It's really about slowing down and just having those moments of connection on a daily basis with your kids. It's going to be 6 weeks, right? So we have all different themes and all different lessons regarding those themes. You'll be surprised because we're not always talking about photography in that group. There's a lot of creative practices, right? It's like, you can, if you love exercise, walking, moving your body, or yoga, you can bring it mindfulness into washing the dishes and cleaning your house. You can bring it into your photography. Certainly you can do photography without being mindful too. And you can bring it into art or writing or gardening. A lot of gardeners in the group.
Yes, there are.
Yeah. So it really is it's not about the final result, basically,
Yes.
right? It's the process.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I've been learning the last couple months, I would say, is, and even like it translates even to like what I've been posting on Instagram. It's like how it makes me feel
Yes.
rather than what it looks like in the end. So
amazing. That is like a kind of the secret of life. I feel like we're all learning that together in the group too, because I have shifted a lot in the past couple months too, with paying more attention to my state of being while I'm doing stuff than the actual doing. I feel like everything was focused on what do I have to do? Check this off the list. You know, how much time do I have? That's all like focused on the doing. What's the final result going to be? And I've been really trying to shift into like, what is my state of being right now as I'm doing this? Because if I can get my state to be happy and present and calm and peaceful and joyous, the results speak for themselves. You don't even have to worry about the results, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So, okay. So you mentioned your youngest daughter, Olivia, right?
Yep.
She is, what was the age difference?
So my oldest is 19 today, and I have a 15-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Yeah. Okay. So you had a big break in between those babies. What made you decide like you want to experience motherhood again after the other two were so much older?
I don't know, but I do remember a moment sitting in a restaurant, and like she was not an accident. This is a conversation that we had with our older girls too, and just talking about it. And, you know, we would talk about names for her and stuff. And I just remember sitting in a restaurant, like just talking about it and thinking, and then later talking to my husband, like, should we do this? Are we crazy? So we did it. And 4 years later, she's here and wreaking havoc everywhere on our lives. But it really did bring back, it brought back a lot of insecurities and, you know, a lot of feelings of being overwhelmed in the beginning when you're a new mom and stuff. But if I bring it back to photography and stuff, that is sort of what, like, I don't know if can I say centers me? It's just like gives me a purpose, being able to be creative, because otherwise I feel like I'm just going through the motions sometimes. But yeah, so I was ready for it. I mean, it took me 11 years. I was ready for it. I was happy. I was excited.
Did you, when you first started, when your older two girls were younger, was that right around when business started taking off for you?
Yeah. So the first couple of years was crazy because they were little and I was trying, you know, and I'm sure like you did too, like overshooting in the beginning and taking everything that I could get, and, you know, birthday parties and baptisms. And I think I even did a couple weddings at one point. It was just like, if you want to pay me, I will shoot it. So that was a lot. And I think that's why after the first couple of years, I was like burnt out.
Yeah. When Juliana, my girls are actually, all three kids are pretty much 4 years apart, but so Juliana was 4 and Grace was a newborn. And I will always look back because we were building the business and I was working so much. I only took 4 weeks off for my maternity leave. I'm like, that time of them being little was one of the hardest times in my life. And that was 10 years ago now. And I have had this feeling since I turned 40 this year that I'm like, I wish I could go back and do it all over again and be a lot less stressed.
Yeah.
And I did with Grant. I definitely had, I had a maternity leave with him. I had kind of figured it out by then, but in those, when I was in my early 30s, they were just really tough years. And so I just kind of thought of that with you, like, this was a beautiful opportunity for you to be able to kind of do it again with a baby, but you have so much more wisdom with that 10-year span, right?
Yeah.
And your ability to be more present and enjoy every little bit of it.
Yes.
Is like such a gift. So how did you start using photography to be mindful in the kind of a second chance at having a new baby when you don't have 2 other babies, right? Yeah.
Well, like you said, because I just knew more and I was more comfortable and I didn't feel like I needed to rush anything. And I was excited to take out my camera again for her, knowing what I know now. Do you know what I mean? And having the skills that I have now to be able to capture her childhood in a different way than with my Juliana 19 years ago, not knowing how to use the camera or even sometimes what I was doing, like what I was actually taking pictures of, why I was taking pictures of, and or like what I wanted to capture. I knew like I had something in my head, but like didn't always translate into the actual photo.
Yep.
So, you know, fast forward to Olivia, being able to see something in my head and then capture it in a photo was, I mean, it's like an obsession, I feel like.
Yes.
But so as far as mindfulness goes, for me as a mother with all three of my kids in those early years, I was overwhelmed a lot and I felt lonely a lot. So I think taking the pictures and then maybe sharing them online sort of helped me. I don't know, it feels weird to say because so many people talk about, you know, strangers that you meet on the internet and you're connecting with all these people so far away. I enjoy that. So it was nice for me to be able to connect in that way. But taking those photos and looking back on them, I could enjoy that moment looking back at them rather than being in the moment. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like being in the moment, I might have felt overwhelmed or lonely or whatever, but then taking the photo and looking back on it, then I can appreciate the moment and for what it was. And does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, the first thing I was thinking was like, oh, you have more gratitude for the moment, having that memory.
It's so much better.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I feel like that's kind of how all photography goes. Even if you do like a professional photo session, it's like you're stressed out about wardrobe and it's like all the stuff. And then it's like, oh, when you get the pictures back, there's always like chaos, but making those memories, even in the chaos, is just, it creates so much meaning around the mundane.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's like all these little moments that make up life. And when you are busy and stressed and everything in it, you don't know how much you're going to appreciate them when they're gone.
Yes.
And to take the photos and to be in the photos and to get in the photos. I know you encourage moms to get in the photos a lot. That creates meaning, not just for you, but your legacy, your children. Like these might not even be moments they'll remember when they're really young. Yeah.
And even me, like, because like I said, being overwhelmed as a new mom, being tired, being exhausted, all these things, like, it's like a fog, I feel like that first year. So a lot of the pictures that I took, wouldn't even have remembered those moments, like you said. And then when the pandemic hit and she was just about 2, and then, you know, we were home a lot, it made me appreciate all the photos that I took at home and the time we spent at home and the memories we made at home. I am so thankful for those photos because, you know, we're getting out of it now and like life is back to normal now and the craziness and the chaos again. But sometimes when those photos will pop back up on, you know, Facebook memories or Time Hop or whatever, I'm like, it feels so weird to say, but I'm like, oh, I almost wish it was like we could go back to that because it was such a slow time. And we did like a family field day in our backyard. And like, I have these great photos from that. And like so many things that we created just out of like wanting to spend time together. And then I have those photos to remember that. So yeah.
I love that. So good. So during the pandemic, you also started teaching more, right? Because you were creating stuff for Olivia to like keep her busy because she's 2. And then you're sharing that stuff online. So tell me a little bit about what that process was like for you.
So she has always loved, like she calls it schoolwork because the other girls were doing their schoolwork at home at that time. And she became obsessed with like workbooks and like, I just remember she loved doing mazes and stuff. So I would buy these workbooks, right? And we would go through them like in a day. Or I would be ripping out all these pages and like throw away the rest of the workbook. And I'm like, I could do this. I can make this myself. So I kind of taught myself basically, just in Canva, how to make all these things. And she loved it. And I could tailor it to like what she was interested, if she was interested in mazes or like letters or numbers or whatever. And then I would share them online and people would say, oh, you know, I want that too. So I would, share it with them too.
That's awesome. And I think it really brought out the teacher side in you because you had been playing, like you were a professional photographer for so long. This allowed you to be creative in a different way.
Yes.
And took off. So if people want to check out your printables or see what you're doing, well, first, I'll make sure to share your social media handles because Stacy shares a lot on Instagram. But you also have is it a subscription for the worksheets or?
Yeah, so if anyone knows what Patreon is, I don't even know if I'm saying Patreon. It's just like a $5 monthly membership, and whatever I create for her, I just upload there. So it's like, you know, trace it, because she's 4, but I started back when she was, you know, almost like 2 or 2.5 or whatever. So a lot of it is like early learning stuff, tracing, but we just started getting into like beginning letter sounds and like writing her name, and, you know, whatever I do for her, I'll just put up there. And even like we're doing a summer journal this year. So I made a bunch of like prompts for her that I'll put up on Patreon, and
awesome.
Whatever I do for her, I just put it up there.
I love it. Okay, so then this whole kind of thing ignited the like teacher within you, and sort of. You are a very good teacher, and I'm picky about teachers. So Stacy's also in our coaching group. So then, as soon as this is like what I hear from pretty much anybody that has an idea of something that they want to do that isn't their main 9 to 5, or it's not their current work, or it's in a different area of expertise. Anytime we're inspired to grow and expand in a certain way, or put something out in the world, and it's something that is close to our heart, the first thing everybody feels in that scenario is imposter syndrome. So tell me a little bit. Now, you have all these worksheets. You've also done photo challenges before, which is what we're going to pair up together this summer and do. But what kind of feelings came up for you when you were like, I want to teach moms this thing that I'm passionate about with photography. I want to teach them what I'm doing at home. What came up for you?
Well, exactly that, imposter syndrome, because I don't know, because that's just the way I felt my entire life. Like, you know, who am I to be doing anything? There's so many people out there who do it so much better. A little bit of like, yeah, no one's going to like it. I'm going to look like an idiot. Just all that insecurity that pops up.
Yeah, it is universal. This is what I want everyone listening right now or watching to know, is that this feeling is universal. And usually it is surrounding exactly what you're meant to be doing. Right? So when we started back, wait, did you do the fall round or the spring round?
I did fall because it was during busy season. I remember. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So back in the fall, when we started the 8-week coaching program Unbound, I have 2. One's an 8-week coaching program that's going to be launching again this fall, but you can also join on a monthly basis at any time into the She's Gone Free membership. So, so back in the fall, we did the 8 weeks of Unbound together. And I can remember you just being very shaky about like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what's next. Like, I'm just sort of in this weird place. Like, I don't, you know, and then as what's happened is you kind of peel back all the layers and you're like, well, and I said to the group, what's the thing you're most scared to do? What's the thing that makes you the most nervous? What's the thing that makes you feel that like an imposter? What's the thing that you're most afraid to do right now? And a lot of times the answer to that question is what you should be doing.
Yeah. You said that and I was like, but do I really have to?
Yeah. And you're like, no, hiding under the table.
Well, this is it, being in front of people and because you know what? And I also see it on social media, people who have like bigger accounts or who are put themselves out there more, then you open yourself up for criticism. And I feel like I couldn't handle that. So it's always sort of held me back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm trying.
Yeah, that is a real fear. And it's a real thing with social media. I'm definitely, I have pretty big audiences and I have a lot of stuff that goes viral or whatever. And there have been moments where there's been a ton of criticism under something. And actually, like one of the things was the viral video of my kids with the gender reveal, because Grace was crying in it. And so then a lot of people were like, she's terrible. Like, she's only like 2 and she's crying over her cupcake not being pink. But we got like internet trolls because that has like I don't even know at this point, it probably had like 20 million views on it.
Wow.
So underneath were all these comments about her behavior, or like, I would spank that child, or like, she's, just all different terrible stuff underneath. And that was hard as a mother to read, like, and to feel like, oh God, because I shared this video, there's all these negative things being said. That was a difficult thing for me to like try to release and just be like, they don't know us.
Right.
They don't know her. This is just what happens on the internet. These are trolls. A lot of it was so ridiculous, So I get that feeling, and I still have it sometimes too. I have it surrounding whatever new I'm putting out there. That is a part of the process though. And it honestly, it was there before the internet.
Yeah.
It has always been there for anybody who is showing up and sharing their gifts with the world and ready to start something new. We all think, who am I to do this? There's too many people already doing this. It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Yeah.
And the best way to get comfortable with being seen is to just, like, you got to walk through that fear. So that's why you're on the podcast with me today.
Yeah.
That's a big reason, but it's like, just let yourself be visible, be seen, because there's so much to celebrate with every single person on the planet has a gift to give, has something to contribute, has a way that they can affect even just one life. Like, some woman's going to listen to your story on the podcast today, and they're going to relate to everything that you said so much that maybe they'll be inspired to pick up their camera today, or maybe they'll be inspired to spend that extra time with their kids and create something fun for them, something meaningful, some memory. Maybe they'll be inspired to get in the photo. So knowing that they'll appreciate it, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope nobody ever feels like, oh my gosh, she does too much with her kids, or I can't do all that stuff. But I try to show that the other part of it too. Do you know what I mean? Like, not being able to get it all done, or
yes. Yep. And how you do it. These aren't big, long projects. This is all like little stuff woven into the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And the same thing with photography. Like sometimes, and that's one of the things I like to encourage or remind moms too, is that, like, not to force it. If it'll happen when it happens. And if you get the photo today, great. If you don't, try again tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be a stressful thing. Like, if you can make it a fun thing for your kids, and then they like enjoy or not look forward to the camera, but don't mind it as much when it comes out. You know what I mean? It will be a much more positive experience for everybody. So
yes, definitely. And this kind of brings us full circle to the beginning of this conversation, which was like, what is your state of being while you're doing anything? Right. And if you can focus on those things, like, you shouldn't, when you're creating out of a stressful place, you're never creating good work.
Right. Yep. I agree.
So it's when you can center yourself and have fun with it, enjoy it, take the pressure off the outcome.
Yes.
Nobody cares.
And it's true. It really does true. And I see it now. So we went, where did we go a couple of days ago? Oh, we went to the farm, like, over the weekend. And I had my big camera with me because we went strawberry picking, and of course, in my head, I wanted these beautiful strawberry picking pictures, but it was like, 11 o'clock in the afternoon. It was so crowded, the farm, which, whatever, I just took the photos and that was it. But before we got in the car, Olivia was like, Mommy, I need my camera too. So, like, I see that it's because I try to make it a positive thing, and I don't, it's not stressful where I'm like, can you just smile for me, please? Or, you know what I mean? Making it,
stressful on them, or like demanding on them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. To perform in a way. Yes. So I see the results of that in her wanting to bring her camera and her asking to take pictures. So
yeah, because it's a fun game. You make a game out of everything, and it becomes fun for them, and so it's not a chore. It's not like, oh yeah, right, totally. That's really how it goes. I mean, even professional photographers, it's like, that's what you got to do in a shoot. It's like, you have to make it fun. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So if you guys want to join our summer photo challenge, we are teaming up for it. It starts on June 21st, first day of summer, and it goes for 6 weeks after that. Each week, you're going to get a new lesson. that Stacy has designed all of the lessons with her like teaching background. And she's done these photo challenges before, which is so fun. And I was like, I want to do this. I want to do this in our membership. Like, let's team up together. So you can get all of that information for the summer photo challenge on HeidiHopeLearning.com. I will post the links to register for that. You can actually register throughout the summer and you'll get everything at any time. You can get instant access to anything that we've already done. There's going to be a private Facebook community. Stacy's going to be in there answering questions. I'll be popping in once a week to just go over what your new lessons are. You'll get a new lesson in PDF delivered every week. And then there'll be some fun prizes. So you can share these on social media. Share them with us. We'll be featuring other photographers, and you do not have to be a professional photographer to join this. This is for anybody who loves photography and just wants to create those summer memories, be present in those summer memories. It actually starts off with a bucket list, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think like I was telling you, I'm going to try to, as I go along with this, try to take some like behind the scenes videos of like Olivia and I trying to take pictures, whatever the theme is for that week. So you can see me either succeed or you can see me fail, and that's okay.
Yes, because it's about the process, not the outcome. Yep. And actually, when I used to teach in-person workshops, that's actually how we met, I think, is you came to an in-person workshop like a decade ago at the old studio.
Remember? No, but it was before that in Seattle. Do you remember with Kelly France and yep.
At the Seattle. Yep, that's right. That's so funny. Gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago in a lot of ways. But anyways, we made lifelong connections through all that stuff, which is great. So in those in-person workshops, it was always like people want to see you mess up. So they're like, I learn more from you doing it wrong than from you doing it perfect, because I already know you can take perfect pictures. Like, I want to see what happens when something goes wrong and doesn't go perfectly, right? And seeing those challenges actually, I think, is probably better education in the long run than seeing it being done perfectly. So we'll definitely be following your videos and your reels and all that stuff too, so we can see how that goes over the course of the summer. I'm excited to do this challenge with my own children. I've never done a summer photo challenge. And of course, we have the big move coming up, and we're going to be in a whole new city. And so it'll be fun to document our journey and share that with everybody out on social media too.
Yep. And I'm excited for at the end too. We said at the end of the challenge, we're going to try and give you inspiration for like what to do with your photos, where to put them, because none of this means anything if they're just sitting on your phone or sitting on your computer. So we'll try to encourage you to do that too.
Yeah. And I've gotten bad at that, I have to say. Like, once we left the old studio, because that's all I did, all the time was printing photos and all that. And then I became pretty bad about printing stuff maybe about 2 years ago, and I just haven't printed anything since. So this will be good for me to document our journey of moving and all that stuff, and have it all in an album, and maybe do a copy for each of the kids. So we'll be recommending to you guys some of our favorite photo products, an easy way to print things off of your phone.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stacy, for being here today. And we're excited to see you. We hope you join us for the Summer Photo Challenge starting June 21st. And we'll see you in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
If you liked today's episode, subscribe to the channel and share it to inspire somebody else today. You can rate and review the podcast so it reaches more ears. And of course, I always love your comments. Follow me on your favorite social media platform at Heidi Hope, Photographer Rising, and She's Gone Free, or visit HeidiHope.com to get on my insider list and hear about upcoming coaching and online learning opportunities. Thanks for listening. I'm so grateful for you.